Michigan football is knee-deep in winter conditioning. Now that I've got internet, once again, we're answering all of your questions right here on this episode of Locked On Wolverines.
You are Locked On Wolverines, your daily podcast on the Michigan Wolverines, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Wednesday. We're back and doing it. Locked On Wolverines podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. I'm your man on the ground, Isaiah Hole, publisher of Wolverines Wire through USA Today Sports Media Group. Thank you to all of our everydayers who watch or listen to the show every single day. Also, big thank you for making us your first listen. We're doing 2 shows today, as promised yesterday when the internet just inexplicably went out. We're going to start out with our leaders and best before moving on to the Victor's Valiant, and then our lightning round with the Blue Crew. Very frustrating day. I went and ran some errands. I'm like, okay, I'm going to get back. I'm going to write and do podcast, and I could do nothing. I had 2 bars of LTE on my phone. As far as the internet, I could barely even load Twitter, but for some reason, Instagram Reels worked. So I spent a lot of the day with DVDs on and just occasionally going on Instagram. I couldn't even look at like regular Instagram like photos. I could watch Reels intermittently though. So that's where we were yesterday. All right, let's start out with our leaders and best. James Crudup at James Crudup 6. Yes, was Connor at the Super Bowl? I was told Seattle's coach, whoever that guy is, couldn't do it without him once upon a time. Pepperidge Farm remembers anything cultural tradition wise you would like to see carry over from the Harbaugh/Moore era. Connor, I do not believe was at the Super Bowl. If he was, I mean, he was texting me during it. So I mean, without sharing that he was there. And yeah, that's kind of was like the point that I made in Monday's show, right? Like you've got these Buckeyes are like, see, they're so up in arms about it. They got to say something. And it's like, no, we're pointing out your absurdity that you thought. Like, because now the goalposts are moving. Like, see, Michigan was so talented they didn't have to cheat. Whereas, like before, it's like, well, what changed? How did that change? Like, no, like the goalposts are just constantly moving over there. And I don't know if anything's coming out or not, but I will say again, based off of what I know had happened, throwing stones at glass houses might not be the best idea. As far as cultures and tradition wise, not really, right? Like I kind of feel like Michigan needs as much of a reset as it possibly can. No sacred cows, essentially, is kind of where I'm at with all of this. Like just whatever Whittingham feels like he needs to do to get this team in the place that it can do its best. I think that's the most important thing. I don't think that. I mean, like, yeah, I'd like to see the helmet stickers stay. I know not everyone does. I like the helmet stickers. I don't want to see new traditions created full cloth. We all can remember the All In for Michigan towels from and Miss Rita's nacho dip, all that kind of stuff. That felt like sad coming out of the Rich Rod era. The towels in particular, because it was like, we don't need this, but I'm sure Whittingham is going to keep pretty much anything important, but no, I don't think that there's anything. But here's the good news. After talking to somebody yesterday, they said that there is a big respect for the culture, not just in terms of like Michigan culture, but just like the players themselves and what they, what has been instilled in them. And they've been more than pleasantly surprised at the culture that exists in the locker room. So that's some good stuff. Josh Barr at Jadicki, all of the incoming basketball transfers have been great. Which one surprised you the most so far? Morez Johnson Jr. I thought he was going to be good, but there's times where it's like, I could see like next year him being just a full-on dominator. Assuming that he stays and doesn't go to the NBA or whatever. I knew he was going to be good. I didn't know he was going to be this good. So that would be that. Side note, you should really read the Dunk and Egg novellas. They're the easiest gateway into the Game of Thrones universe, not as dense as the main books and great stories. That's the eventual plan. However, I did start a Game of Thrones finally yesterday, which is why if you look behind me, there's a little bit of a space here. These are I have the Game of Thrones novels right here in the bookshelf. Asked for them for Christmas a couple years ago, got them. I'd actually read the first half of A Game of Thrones on my Kindle. but I don't use my Kindle anymore. So I'm just starting it over. And we're just going to kind of low and slow slog through all of them. But yeah, no, I'm obsessed with the Game of Thrones of it all. I really am. Michael Wolf at MWolf21. Actually, before I move on to that, like just to note the level of appreciation for all things Westeros. They released one scotch since, but they're in my garage, so I don't know, it's not a great place for them to be. But I have all the scotches except for one that they released like 2 years after the fact. I had two pairs of the Adidas Ultra Boosts. I no longer have them because I left them at my mom's, and my mom, I think, threw them away. A bunch of the beers. I don't drink, but I just had a lot of those things as collectibles. And, but I still have the scotches, all of the houses and all of that in my garage. No place to really display them here. So they've just been sitting in a box, and they're probably getting ruined, to be honest, but whatever. My brother in metal, Michael Wolf at MWolf21. I know it's been mentioned a bit from others, but have you personally talked to any players about the difference in the coaching staff so far? I have not. So unfortunately, pretty open and shut question. I have nothing to add. Spencer Whitmore at Spencer Whitmore. Top shows you're watching right now. Well, I've been rewatching. Okay, so it starts as far as current shows that are on TV. A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. Hijack. I started season 2 of The Pit, but I've only watched the first episode. I haven't really felt like watching it. I can't really think of anything else that's like currently on TV. There's not a lot of like current TV that's like out, right? Like it's kind of been like, and that's been for a while. There's not like, when everything was network, you at least had schedules and said, okay, here's what I'm watching on Monday, Tuesday, like I grew up on TV. That's why I became a film major. And I had something I would watch every single weekday, at least. Weekends were maybe a little sparser, right? But right now there's not a lot. So those are pretty much it. But right now, paused on the TV is I did a full rewatch of Game of Thrones, and then I just kind of had it on in the background while I'm working since. And I did the same thing with House of the Dragon. I've watched a lot of the behind the scenes featurettes. Right now my mind is in Westeros when it comes to television. Edwin Simmons at Simmons_Edwin. Happy Tuesday, my brother in Christ. Well, it was a happy Tuesday in terms of just not having anything to do. I was bored out of my mind yesterday. Hope you're feeling better. I'm 95% of the way there. Still got some residual stuff, but I worked out the last 2 days, so that's good. When is the next football press conference in Ann Arbor? No idea. They don't telegraph that generally until it happens. Any word on the health of Babalola? Not yet. As far as I know, he's improving. Looks like the offensive line ate good at the dinner with the line coach. It did seem that way. So that's, I don't really think there's news there. Like I saw a lot of people reposting it like it was big news. It's just kind of like, we are at a grasping at straws type of time period here. So there's that. All right. And then my friend Josiah, Josiah, tell me how to say your last name, because I don't even know. You're one of my best friends in the world, and I don't even know how to say your last name. Real question. Spring ball will be here before we know it. What do you want to see highlighted in the spring game? I just want to see I want to see. I don't think we're going to talk in second episode today about Jay Hill's defense, but I want to see the offense look ahead of the defense for once, because I think they will be. Fun question. Will Oscar Piastri destroy your favorite F1 son, Lando Norris's legacy? He will not. He will not. Lando might destroy your guy, Max Verstappen's legacy, but that's neither here nor there at the moment. All right, we've got so much more to get to, and we're going to do so here in just a moment. But before we do, this is Mazda's moving the game forward for those who show there's more to the score than what's on screen. Just like when Morez Johnson Jr. had a double-double in like 23 minutes of play, with Adai Mara adding 24 points against the Buckeyes, there's a lot more to simply lining up against your rival and going toe-to-toe. There's domination, and that's precisely what Michigan basketball did against Ohio State and Columbus on Sunday. With a full group effort, the Wolverines took down Ohio State, finishing out the season sweep and giving the Buckeyes one of their worst home losses to Michigan in eons. These remind us of what it really takes to raise the bar. It's that extra work off the court, dialing in every detail, giving it that extra fire, that grit, and that I never quit. We put the same passion into every model. Highlights make the reel. What it took to get there makes it count. There's more to a Mazda because there's more to you. All right, we've got more coming up here in just a moment, but before we do, the new year is here and it's the perfect time to reset your routine and refresh your space. If you're spending more time at home, you might as well love how it looks and feels. That's why you should turn to Wayfair. It's a one-stop shop for getting your home back on track. From bedding and mattresses to storage solutions for every room, Wayfair makes it easy to start the year fresh. Wayfair has everything you need for a full home refresh all in one place. Whether you're updating your living room, organizing your space, or upgrading your work from home setup, Wayfair's huge selection makes it easy to find exactly what works for your style and budget. Right before the new year, I actually picked up new bedding from Wayfair and it completely changed how my bedroom feels. It's cleaner, calmer, and more put together. I love that I can find pieces that match my style without spending a fortune. Shopping is easy, delivery is smooth, and everything arrived exactly as expected. It honestly made getting back into a routine once I got home from the bowl game feel a heck of a lot more manageable. So get organized, refreshed, and back on track this new year for way less. Head to wayfair.com right now to shop all things home. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. Thank you for making Locked On Wolverines your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. You already live your team every day. Now take it up a level and go ad-free. Join the Everydayer Club today and get Locked On Wolverines with no interruptions. But here's the most important thing, the members-only Discord access. That's right, we got a paywall, so you can ask me anything and I will answer it as openly and honestly as I can, right? We have to obfuscate a little bit on the show. It's not a paywall here. We've seen what happens when we just speak openly about inside info. Sometimes it gets misconstrued. Sometimes it just gets, it travels everywhere in ways that it doesn't with the other paywalls. So we're limiting that to the Discord access, but you can join that for just $5 a month or $50 a year. Just check out Locked On Wolverines at supercast.com to learn more, or check the show notes and you can find out all about that. All right, we got the Victor's Valiant coming up here. Tons more. Let's get into it. Let's start with Nunya Biz at UofM fan _for life. I apologize for the half-type question last week that didn't fully make sense. I don't remember it, so there we go. Going into this year, there will be quite a few new Big Ten coaches and other coaches that received extensions. What school next do you think will be looking for a new coach? Extremely hot take, Ohio State. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if for no other reason. And I know this is going to, they're going to throw a hissy fit over this. This is what they do. It's their idol. So like I'm offending their religion, is what happens here. This is why that happens. There's a lot more parity in the Big Ten than there was. Now, without the outside intervention of details being released of, everything that had transpired, then, I think Ryan Day is safe. I said without that. Will that happen? I don't know. But I don't know. I mean, how long is Maryland going to tolerate Mike Locksley just being about a 500 coach? He's recruiting well, but is Maryland willing to just be there forever? Here's the other thing. You could see some guys move. I don't know who would. If Washington has a really good year, does a bigger fish go after Jed Fish? Well, they didn't mean to do that, but okay. You know what I'm saying? Does Kirk Ferentz ever decide to retire? He's been around forever. Luke Fickell could be another one, right? Like if this, we got his extension, but if like this year is another really bad year, then that's not good for him. So that's where I'm at. Adam Casel at Adam_Casel. How is Doug Ellisai's philosophy similar to Herbert's? How is it different? Anywhere down the players are connecting with the new strength and conditioning staff? Let me put it this way. I talked to somebody about this yesterday. There's not really like a material difference in a lot of ways from strength conditioning coach to the next. And especially in terms of they're still all kind of doing the same thing. And I guess we'll find out how effective it is come fall, right? But in terms of philosophy and all that, I don't think that it's materially different or similar. Like it's just kind of is what it is. And as far as the players connecting, I mean, I've heard it's the same as it always is. I know some will try to make it into bigger things than it is because, again, there's just not a lot to talk about football wise in February. It's this probably the second or third driest month of the calendar. May and June are kind of there with it in terms of actually behind the scenes compared to like at least like May and June have some recruiting aspects to them. But, you know, I'm not the one at William Cawthor 9. Did you know EJ Holland well? Why does it seem like he was not very liked? I did know him pretty well. I've known him since 2015. And I like EJ. And, you know, he's been on the show. Why was he not liked? It was because he's kind of like a flamethrower, right? And you can see that now that he's moved on to Miami, to covering Miami, is like he's already flowing, you know, arrows at Michigan fans, right? Like he's bombastic. He's going to create controversy. It's just kind of what he does, which is funny because like in person, he's like very chill. And, you know, it's to me, it's performance art in a lot of ways. And a lot of people don't appreciate that. And I understand why. I'm not saying that I don't understand why, but that's kind of it. Do you think there will ever be a four-year players at one school in this age of college athletics? Yeah, I think Michigan's one of those ones. Like, I think some blue bloods will have them. I don't think it's going to be nearly as prevalent as it was before. Where does Stalions' love for Michigan come from? I mean, you can just watch the opening of the documentary. It came from his parents. You know, his parents were, particularly his mom, diehard Michigan fan. So that's where. ZT Jones at @who_Zach Jones. Was there ever an interaction or something you saw with Mike Macdonald at Michigan that left the impression he was capable of the greatness he was achieving in the NFL? I guess like if I was to point to one moment, it was I brought this up the other day, the Wisconsin game in 2021. Afterwards, we were walking towards just kind of where all the players were. I was walking off the sidelines. I was walking up with Mike Macdonald. I said, man, I did not expect this. And he says, I did. And, you know, like that was kind of the moment where it felt like, yeah, all right. I mean, you know, maybe, you know, if you're looking at on-field play, the Washington game, right? Because Washington, despite having lost to Montana the week before, still had an incredible offense and could do nothing against the Michigan defense. Nothing. And so, I mean, there were signs along the way. But, yeah, that would be it for me. Great Bambino X at Colossus Cloud X. Any info on replacing Esposito, promoting Denham, outside hire, having Powell take over the entire unit and hire for a different spot? I mean, colleagues have insisted that it looks like Denham's getting promoted, but it hasn't happened yet. So I don't know. It's kind of where I'm at with that. Like until it happens, which I'm sure it will probably today, because we have to have some outdated info on this show, almost every show. That would be it. But that's intel from some colleagues. Perry Mitchell at Perry Mitchell 08 with the retention of so many recruits after the coaching change. You see that more as a credit to the coaching staff showing the recruits they can develop the talent, or a credit to the players committing to a school and not a coaching staff? I honestly think it's more of a credit to the recruiting staff and Sean McGee and all of the people who are handling that stuff behind the scenes. The people who have, stuck around and all of that. I think that that's a credit to them, Champion Circle, and all of those people. I don't want to minimize Champion Circle there. Champion Circle, like all of those are even and equal in my eyes as far as getting them to do that. And also credit to the players for deciding to stick it out with so much uncertainty as well. Ramez Herrick, can players who put their name in the transfer portal and didn't withdraw in theory continue to practice with the team during winter conditioning? I think it's up to the coaches, essentially. In theory, yes, I believe so, but it's up to the coaches and the school to decide, what they can and cannot do in terms of that is concerned. Jacob Shavoria at Shavoria, what would you like to see more of recruiting-wise with this class? Feel like they didn't hit the receiving room hard enough. Jeremiah Smith would leave for $8 million for 1 year. Why didn't Larry do it? I don't really get that last reference, but as far as recruiting, I mean, they did well with wide receiver and recruiting. I mean, keep in mind, they kept on losing guys, right? Like they had Zion Robinson, he flips. They had Brady Marchese, he flips, right? Like, Calvin Russell had pretty much told Michigan he was in before flipping to Syracuse and then all that stuff that went down. But in terms of this upcoming class, if that's what you're saying, I'm not sure because it's too early. But as far as obviously linebacker was the big issue. That was really it. They got a couple guys, Aiden Reeder and Caden Catchings and Markel Dabney, but no top of the line guys, unlike the year before when they got Nathaniel Owusu-Boateng. They've really struggled there. So I would have liked to have seen them. I mean, they really wanted Braden Rouse, didn't end up getting him. So 2 more in this segment. K-Lob711. You foresee Michigan being able to have Bryce throw for 3,000 yards, Marshall run for 1,000, and Marsh or French receive 1,000 in the same year. God bless. I mean, if Bryce is throwing for 3,000, then you're going to see March or French probably have 1,000. Unless you're talking about both of them. I mean, even both of them. I mean, I guess it depends, because J.J. Buchanan's going to be in there as well. I mean, I think that's well within the realm of possibility. That feels like a high aspiration for Michigan, but if it was this staff at Clemson or this staff at just somewhere else, or some of these players at Utah, you'd be sitting there looking at it and saying, well, of course that's what it's going to be. It's just we haven't seen it in Ann Arbor, so that's kind of the big difference. Finishing us out in segment 2, the Rican Raider at Hamstand87. Morning, Isaiah. Hope you're well. What future opponents would you like Michigan to schedule? Personally, I'd like to play Clemson. I have one name on that list, and it's LSU. Michigan has never played LSU. How on earth, with hundreds of years of history with the two schools, have the two never faced each other? Clemson would be interesting. LSU, whether it's a bowl game, I mean, I'd love the home and home. I understand things are changing. I still I still don't care, man. I still want the home and homes. It's just so much cooler to go to Oklahoma, to have Texas come to the big house, all that stuff, than playing them in some nondescript stadium in Orlando, right? No offense to the Citrus Bowl. Actually, a lot of offense to the Citrus Bowl. That's where we're at. All right, we've got plenty more coming up. It's the lightning round of the Blue Crew. Let's get to that here in just a moment. But before we do, tax season doesn't have to take over your life this year. TurboTax is making it easier than ever just to hand things off and move on with your day. With TurboTax Full Service, you can have your taxes done for you by a trusted local expert, start to finish, without the stress or guesswork. Instead of spending hours trying to figure out forms, you can meet with a local TurboTax expert in person or connect online. They'll handle everything from W-2s to self-employed forms and work to get you every deduction possible. You can upload your documents, go about your day, and get updates right in the TurboTax app. It's a huge time saver and gives real peace of mind knowing that an expert is handling it. For a limited time, you can have your taxes done by a local TurboTax expert for just $150 all in. If a TurboTax expert didn't file for you last year, just file by February 28th. Take taxes off your plate and get back to your life. Visit TurboTax.com/local to book your appointment today. All right, let's lightning around this. Got plenty more here. Just double checking something. All right, looks like we're good. Let's start with Doug Light. Any upside to former 2024 commits Zach Ludwig and Amarian Stewart? Stewart's been injured. Ludwig was always a project. Stewart, I think, could absolutely be a player. But, it's just got harder. They just added some wide receivers and got some freshmen and all of that. But last year he was injured. He's kind of a little bit more of your speed and space type of guy. So I'll be interested to see what happens there. Michigander asks, when will you join the Big Ten squad? I'll be on it tonight, which will air on Thursday. I missed, because of travel and some other obligations, I missed the month of January. We'll be back starting tonight. I mean, I'm not going to be on every one of them probably, but I'll be on more than I won't be. Is the plan, barring some other things here. Nelson Bannon, come on. There we go. Moving up. Did Mike McDonald also win the Super Bowl because of cheating? I'm just going to leave that where it is. Mishark again. Do you think that the staff will put out who's doing good this spring and summer practices? Last staff either fabricated or we barely seen the guy they spoke of. I don't know, because I don't know these guys, right? It'll be interesting to see. It wasn't just this last staff, it was the staff before it, and it was different position coaches and people like that, right? I can go back to 2019 and Josh Ross is Devin Bush, but bigger, faster, stronger. He's even better and all of that stuff. He turned out fine, but why set up those expectations? You know what I mean? And that was Anthony Campanelli that year, linebackers coach. I don't know. Bob Filippa, who is filling Max Bredeson's role. He played an important role in our run game. Keep in mind, it's a completely different offense. But like if you're going to look at who are the fullbacks, it's Jalen Hoffman and Eli Owens, but different offense. So they're in 11 personnel now. So what you thought you knew about the Michigan offense, throw it out the window. Brad Wright, first player off the draft board. Rayshon Benny, Marlon Klein, other. I don't know. I'm going to look at something real quick because you got the combine invites. Bredesen, McCauley, Marlon Klein, Jayshon Barham, Rayshon Benny, Derek Moore. That's it. It's Derek Moore. Jimmy Rolder, Dominic Zavada are the ones who are going to the combine. And there's others. Giovanni Alhadi didn't get the invite. It's Derek Moore. That would be it. Sorry, I had to go back and think about it for a second. Ian Westbrook, true or false, Michigan can only lose at most 2 games in order to make the college football playoff. If true, what's the likelihood with the tough schedule and new coaching staff they can go 10-2? Love the show. Thank you, Ian. I've seen some projections. Brad Crawford had them going 9-3. I think it just depends on who they lose to. Because, I mean, you've got so many teams that could be in the playoff. Like, who do they lose to and how bad or how close is it, right? I think they could go 9-3. But I think 10-2 is the best way to get in. If you lose at Oregon and Ohio State, then yeah, you're probably in because that means you beat Oklahoma, you beat Indiana, you lose to Indiana and Oregon, then you beat Ohio State, you lose to Indiana and Ohio State, you beat Oregon in Oregon, right? Like it just kind of depends on the combination, right? Like heck, you could beat all of those and then end up losing to Iowa and Michigan State. What does that say? I don't know. Right? Like we just got to see how it goes. Jason Mackwin, it seems like we've got have no roots in Harbaugh coaching tree anymore in Ann Arbor. Is it concerning? No, they needed to move on. They absolutely needed to separate themselves from that entire thing at this point. And that has been one of the things for me in general. Michigan needed to stop it's got to be a Bo coach. It's got to be have connections to Bo or Lloyd Carr or whatever. They needed to stop that. And so they've stopped that. Thankfully, I've been saying that for years and years and years and years, even when in the middle of the Jim Harbaugh of it all. I want to root for Coach Whit, but I haven't seen him in as bigger stages as Michigan. The highest he's ever gotten is a conference championship, but he's won the Pac-12 in years that people didn't think he could. So no, hasn't been in the college football playoff, but until the last 2 years, they were a game away from being in it this last year, but they lost to Texas Tech and BYU. And Josh T. This is the first offseason without some sort of NCAA drama in quite some time. With the expected normal offseason ahead, do you anticipate taking any breaks from the show or change of the normal schedule? Nope, we'll still be going. Says, wish you all the best, brother. Appreciate that. No, we're going to be going. The only breaks that will come will generally be externally imposed. Sickness last week, no internet yesterday. That's basically it. Egg ask, and we'll just call him. Actually, I'm not going to do what I was going to do. Well, will we get a simple, quite football-only season this year with zero off-the-field drama unlike the past couple? I would envision so, yes. All right, finishing us out, Jiggy Smurf. How is Underwood's development going? Is he learning the 75% pass too many rockets last year? Brother, it is winter conditioning. I don't know, the people keep on asking, how's this guy doing? How's that guy doing? It's winter conditioning. None of that stuff is happening right now, right? They're, to quote Ecclesiastes, unless actually I'm not really quoting it, but there's a time and a place. There's a time to blank and a time to blank. And a time to play and a time to develop isn't really happening right now. Right now is winter conditioning. The running, the jumping, climbing trees. I don't know where I got that from. Was that Eddie Izzard? But they're doing the weightlifting and all of that. We'll know more about the development as we go through the 2 camp periods. That's going to do it for show number 1. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We will have a second show today, and we're going to record that right away. So we'll talk to you again that soon. Peace.